In this video, we're going to create a contact page with a contact form. And we're going to make sure we're connected to our movies site folder. We will open Dreamweaver. We can check our files panel to make sure we're still connected. Or we can also go through Site, Manage Sites. Make sure we're still connected through there. Hit Done. I'm going to create a new page, File New. This is going to be a site template, or from a site template page, from our movie site, from our movie template, HTML5, update page when template changes should be selected, and create. Now I want to save this page. File, save as. Now I've been clicking around this site a little bit earlier, so I want to make sure I'm back to my top level, saving back to my top level of this site folder. There we are. I'm going to call this contact.html. Make sure it's in this top level. Yes. Save. I already had the page there. And there we are. I have my properties panel open. If yours is not open, go to Windows Properties. Now, so far we've worked from the split, sort of live and code side, using the CSS Designer a lot for creating new CSS selectors and properties. We've also used our insert panel for certain HTML elements. We could use that for our form by adding a blank form and then filling it with different elements. But today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to try to work mostly from the code view. We got a couple ways we can do that. I can go to File, Open. I'm going to open my CSS file separately. And I can grab that CSS, my movie CSS, and pull that window out and display that separately. And then we can access this a little bit easier and do some changes right through the CSS file instead of having to click back and forth. And then we can see the results after we save it up here. And then I can click back to my HTML and do some changes on here. Now this one, I'm also going to pull out the HTML file, the contact HTML file, so it's floating in that window also, and I can bring my CSS window back up here. Good. The first thing we're going to do is highlight the word welcome, that H2 text, and it's going to be our contact page, so we'll say something like contact us. I'm going to leave my slogan. I'm going to highlight this placeholder text, paragraph text. I'm going to type in something like this. Fill, let's do this. Submit the form below to subscribe to our newsletter. Okay. I'm going to click to the right of that paragraph text, hit return, and then we're going to create our blank form. We do that using a HTML tag. Now the cool thing about Dreamweaver is it will do some suggestions. If I just type in the word form, hit tab on my keyboard, it'll give me a suggestion and it'll finish that for me. An opening and closing form tag, the word action equals, and then quotes. For this, I'm going to type in // newsletter .php. I'm going to click to the right of that quote. I'm going to hit space. I'm going to type in an M. Now Dreamweaver is going to say, sort of guess that I'm trying to type in the word method, and that is correct. So I'll hit return at this point. It'll give me more quotes, and I have a couple choices. I can arrow down to the word post, hit enter, and it will place that in there. I can click between that opening and closing form tag and hit enter. I can do that about 3 times so I have space, and I'll place my cursor back up here to add some more elements. Now this form will be visually a contact form, and it's set up to submit through a PHP file, to post through that. It will enter a database, the backside server, and it could be, the data could be tabulated and saved there for future access, and also to set up that newsletter. And it could be retrieved by the web developer or whoever's running the website. That's more of a backside server thing, and when the viewer submits that contact form, it'll go to that server, and a new file will pop up for the viewer that will say something like, "Thank you for subscribing," and then they can continue with their experience on the website. Now, we're not going to do the backside server for this project, but just keep in mind that's how that would post. Let's continue building the different elements of this form. Our next thing we're going to start typing is input, I-N-P-U-T. Before you hit space or anything, hit tab, and Dreamweaver will complete that for us. I could do that a couple more times, or I could copy and paste this. Command C and Command V on your keyboard. Hit enter one more time, Command V. And maybe one, I think 3 will be fine actually. Next, we're going to change the text for these. We're going to change the text to input type. I'm going to call this first, I'll get rid of the caps, first and last name. Next, I'm going to call this telephone. I'm going to call this, actually telephone number. I'm going to call this one email. Now I can click to, in this first input type, first and last name, I can click to the right of that quotation, put a space in there, and start typing P, L. And Dreamweaver is going to sense I'm trying to type in placeholder. Good, hit enter. And the placeholder text will actually show up in the contact form. I'm going to call this first and last name. I'll do the same thing with the other line. To the right of that quotation mark, space, placeholder, enter, telephone number, and finally the email, space, placeholder, email. Next, we're going to input a text area, one word. Hit tab, and Dreamweaver will complete that. The name of this text area is going to be questions or comments. I can give this an ID if I want, Q and C. How many columns do I want? I think 30 will be fine. Let's do 40 for now. Rows, 10 will be fine. And there we go, the right of the rows. Space, PLA, placeholder. Enter your questions and comments here. Good. And I think the last thing we'll need here, and click to the right of that text area, hit enter, will be a submit button. And that one's going to be input tab. Well, I don't want this to be text, I want this to be submit. And when I hit submit, that will automatically make it look more like a button and put in the word submit there. Good. That's how you can create a very basic blank form. Ready to go. It's not looking too good, it's not lined up too nicely, so we'll come back in our next video and format this with some CSS. Make sure you save all, and I'll see you in the next video.